Hello everyone and welcome to our first ever M.A.R.S review here on the channel. Super excited to be providing this review for you all. Hopefully you find this review informative, entertaining, and just overall enjoyable. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get out this Final Fantasy VII M.A.R.S action figure Sephiroth. Let's go ahead and get him out. Here we have him out of the packaging, one of the complete villains from the Final Fantasy series, Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, looking great. So what I want to point out is what all the figure comes with. Now, of course, you are going to be getting the figure itself, which looks really good. And you are also going to be getting a pair of 4 hands. So you have our closed fist here. They give you 2 sets of your katana wielding hands, and then just these open, relaxed hands here. I really enjoy the bar that they put the pairs of hands on. I think that's pretty cool. Very similar to M.A.R.S to a degree. I am enjoying that. And then here you can see you're also going to be getting a stand for the figure as well. Now let's address the elephant outside here, and that is going to be this figure. For the most part, seems bare bones. So is this figure going to be worth your money? Is it going to be worth the pickup? Well, I'm about to take the figure out of the packaging, have a closer look, and then you can make that decision for yourself. With that out of the way, let's take the figure out of the packaging. First things first, I want to tell you that for this figure, you're going to be paying around $100 if you were to get it imported. I think from the official website, it's like $120. So the biggest question that's going to be asked for most collectors out there is going to be, is it worth the $125 price tag? And to answer that, quite frankly, I would say no. I think this is a figure that you should probably get on sale if possible. Now, being that this is such an iconic character in the franchise, I don't think a lot of people will care, and they are going to pay that $120 price tag. And for those like Final Fantasy fanatics, I do get it. Trust me, I understand it. Like myself, even paying like the $100, I didn't even care because of who the character was, and this is kind of like a new venue here for the channel. So yeah, I wanted to take a gamble and see how this figure was going to turn out. Am I overall happy with this figure? I mean, the one thing that I want to say when I first took this figure out and was posing him around and stuff like that is that this figure really makes you feel like a collector. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. In the case for this figure, it's already like pre-sculpt. If you can kind of see like how the grooves kind of align there, even here at the legs, how they kind of align. So as far as like poseabilities, the figure can hit some good poses, some decent poses and things like that. But what I mean when I say like it really makes me feel like a collector is because you really have to know before you even put your hands on the figure the type of pose you're looking for or things like that, just because this figure is not poser friendly, and like some of the mechanics on this figure is not all that as well. So let's go ahead and jump into kind of like an issue I have with this figure. There's 2 issues I have with this figure really. One of them is something that can be fixed, and it goes to do with and it has to do with these flaps here. So this one, you can see how easily it pops out. Like from the moment you take the figure out of the packaging, out of the plastic trays, they just fall out. However, if you were to pull this completely out like I did with this one, you can see it's staying, no issue, it's in there. If you were to pull this out and then slam it down into the little groove here and then put it back in, you shouldn't have any issues. And I wanted to have this for the review so you can see that if you remove this piece here and then completely slide on this slip and reattach it back to the figure, you shouldn't have to worry about these little pieces falling off, is what I'm getting at. The second thing is going to be the overall coloring of the figure. I could be wrong, so please correct me if I am, but this figure, according to the box, is supposed to be all black. Well, we are not getting that here. We're getting like different shades of almost like a burgundy color. Up here at the arms, it's darker, it's like black. Here at the upper torso, the upper part of the body, it's all black. But when you get down to like the pants here, I don't know if you can see the coloring, but it's not black. It's like this figure had been sitting out in the sun and was saturated or something like that. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the right terminology for it, but it's like it's lost its color. So that's the second thing. And then the legs, surprisingly, are pretty good. I will say the legs, for the most part, have the best articulation throughout the whole figure, because you can pretty much get it going any which way you need to. And things like that. There's a swivel as well. So, and the legs can come off. All the parts for this figure can come off pretty easily. And when I say that, I don't mean like they just come off randomly. Like you can, if the intention's there, the figure or the piece will come off. So, just overall aesthetically, I have to say that the figure, it is nice. I think it could have been done better. You know, these figures are made in-house from Square Enix, so, you know, in other words, if they're bad, they're bad. Unless they improve, the figure will improve. But this is my first time with this type of figure hands-on, and I would say, for the most part, I'm happy. But this isn't a figure, this isn't an SH Figuart, this isn't a MOFX, even like a Marvel Legends, what have you, or you can just pick it up and start posing it around. Like, no, you have to be diligent with this figure, you have to know the poses you want to get into with this figure, and just basically like play around with the figure to see what the figure is about. Alright, so let's go ahead and do the full rundown for the articulation. He can look up this much, he can look down this much. And it does suck that we're only getting this one head sculpt or one faceplate and nothing else with that. And then for the arms, now the arms are a bit weird. They do hit the ranges and the motions and all that stuff, but the way they're just set up, it's kind of weird. Yeah, you can still hit your T-pose. And there's kind of like butterfly joints in there, but I don't know. For me, it's just different. You do have your bicep swivel, but again, you see how it cuts like that? Because the figure's already been like sculpted in one pose or one position. So those type of things can easily like knock it off, I guess, or easily like have it not appealing, I guess you can say. Now the articulation for the arms are pretty good, I will say that. I mean, that's pretty good range of motion there. Same for here as well, so the way they did the elbows, I think was good. The elbows looked nice. I'm not sure. I think those are like, I'm not sure what those kind of joints are called, but they look good and they work. And then up here at the top, you can twist the upper top here as well. So you can get some good poses in. It's just you have to be patient and know what you're going into, like know what you're wanting to pose and stuff like that. And then of course you have to worry about this falling off. So yes, I recommend you remove this piece here, have it put on there properly, and then reattach it and you'll be fine. The legs, again, they're good. The legs are good here. They don't seem to be like very durable, I will say that. They can still get some good poses in. And again, you have a leg swivel as well, but it's going to create that cut. So just be mindful of that. I don't know if that's like an issue for most collectors. It shouldn't be. For the knees, again, good on the knees. Even here at the feet, not much rocker movement, but the toe pivot is there. You can extend out pretty good. As you can see, like the legs are pretty loose, and you can get them posed around pretty easily. Now, when you go to stand the figure up, you kind of have to go with, again, that intention of standing up the figure. And with the legs being as loose as they are, as flexible as they are, this kind of makes them a little bit weak. But with some practice, you have no issues. So we're just going to run this all the way through. How about that? And then again, you know, this is just like the most annoying part with this figure. And then you just slide it up into the groove there. And even then, it's not guaranteed. That's why I highly recommend that you do that. That'd be the first thing you do when you get this figure. Alright, that one you have to be mindful of that one too. Don't want that one coming off. So, let's see. With the arm, I always want to like lift it up and push it back in, but it just does not do that whatsoever. Okay. Again, with the arms kind of playing tricks on me here. So let's go ahead and take off this pairs of hands. And again, when we get down here, this is the kind of pegs that they're using to secure everything in. I don't know if I like that design or not. Okay, I'm just gonna keep this off for now. Now remember, for everyone watching, to avoid having to do that, just remove this back piece right here, and then you don't have to worry about this falling off. But let's go ahead and get to the pairs of hands real quick. So as you can see here, I like this. I wish more companies would do stuff like this. I would definitely pay like the extra $2 or $3 for this, just so I don't have to keep individually taking out hands and putting them back in. I can just have them on a nice little display stand like this. So we have our open hands, and then we have our katana hands here. And they're giving us 2 of these, I'm assuming because they seem to be about the same size. But I'm assuming the reason why they're doing that is because they know these hands may come off the figure very easily and you may lose it in a room or outside or what have you. So that's my guess there. And then of course you have the closed fist here. So, you know, pretty standard stuff. The character design and the sculpting it's pretty good, you know, to say the least. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, diehard, you're gonna love this figure for sure. But if you're like a overall just collector, I mean, hell, even if you're a fan of the franchise, I think you're gonna enjoy this figure regardless. Okay, sorry. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this long katana. Now, I don't know the name of this weapon, unfortunately. I know for Cloud, I think it's like the Buster Sword. Not sure what it's called for Sephiroth here. Now, you can remove this too. So the hilt can be removed. And then, let's go ahead and put this on real quick. So any which one will do. And then, oh no, this one seems to be, I mean, it works. It works, but it seemed to be a little tight there. And then, maybe this way, okay. I'm trying to see the right way, which way? Okay, so I did not put this on right. So here we go. There we go, that's the way. Alright, and then just, again, knowing to have that pose, like what pose you're going for, I guess we can do something like this. Alright? Voila. And there it goes. Here he is. So I think the weakest points for this figure, for me, is going to be the legs. They're a little bit too loose for my liking. I wish they were a little bit more sturdy, just so when I go and pose a figure up. Definitely the drapes here, I'm gonna call this little piece, but easily fixable. Okay. The coloring, it does throw me off because I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be black, but it's definitely not black all the way through. Definitely on the upper part of the figure. The hair looks okay, looks good. Even the faceplate looks really good as well. I wish we had a little bit extra, maybe an additional faceplate. Like if you look at all the Bring Art figures, and I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, none of them come with additional faceplates. You're just getting the figure and the sword and hands. That's it. Now, the next Bring Arts review I have planned for the channel is going to be Vincent, which I hope that one's gonna be pretty cool. I'm sure it's gonna be the same kind of setup and Square Enix swagger that this character or this figure has. There's gonna be something similar. So I have that coming up, I think in November or September, one of the two. I think it's November. And then of course next year we have Zach. We have the Bring Art Zach coming out as well. So I'm definitely gonna be reviewing those two. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this figure, to be honest. I just don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. I did plan on getting Tifa and Cloud, but I decided not to. I just wanted to just try to have my first impression with this figure to see if it's a line I'm feeling like getting into. And I don't know. I don't know yet. But would I recommend you this figure? Is this figure worth $120? It all depends on, you know, who you are and where you come from. And where, you know, what you've done with your life. Like, if you played Final Fantasy, if you enjoy the remakes, then yeah, this is definitely a worthy pickup. For me, I like this figure. It's a 1/12 scale figure. That's why I was like very turned on to it. And I like the art style of the old school PlayStation 1 kind of look. They're trying to capture in that look, and they did a really great job doing that. So for me, that's like my appeal to the figure. That's my attraction to the figure. But if, you know, you have to go into this knowing like it's not going to be all roses and sunshine. Okay, you may get frustrated. You may feel that this figure is not worth the amount you paid for it. But in the end, if you're a fan of Final Fantasy, then you're going to enjoy this figure. Now, if you're not a fan of Final Fantasy, and you kind of want this figure for, let's say, Smash Bros, you can have this figure for like your Smash Bros collection. Yes, this is definitely worth a pickup. The one thing I'm going to tell you is just know going into this figure that it's not going to be as enjoyable as picking up an SH figure art where you can get up and pose, you know, in every which direction. You know, like this Naruto, I don't have to worry about nothing. I can look away and just go crazy and do whatever I want, and it's gonna pose and be fine. Well, you can't have that with this figure. With this figure, yes, you can do that, but you know, things are gonna pop off. It's not gonna stand, blah blah blah. And that's why I feel like at the end of the day, that's why this figure makes me feel like a collector, because this is something you pose up on a shelf and that's it, or you do a photography session and that's it. It's not something you sit around and just pose around like you can so easily with a Naruto SH figure art. So let's lastly do a, see, you gotta be careful. I should have anticipated I was gonna hit the figure. So the last thing I want to do here is just a real quick size comparison to end off the review for you all. Here we go here. Here he is next to Naruto. I think they scale well together. They do. Now, let's have him next to a Marvel Legends Deadpool here. So, again, there we go. Scales pretty dang well, especially for those Smash Bros and whatever. Unfortunately, I don't have another Bring Arts to compare this to. But for our last size comparison, we're going to be looking at the Storm Collectibles Evil Ryu. Okay, now let's see how this guy... Alright. I mean, really, obviously out of scale if I had like a Jada Toys right here with us, but it still looks good. You know, so ultimately, again, it's up to you. But I personally feel like the figure is best on sale if you can't wait until then. As long as you enjoy the franchise, as long as you enjoy the character, as long as you're going into this knowing, hey, I'm about to spend $120, but this figure isn't going to be as well as a $120 SH figure art. As long as you know that going into it, then you should have nothing to worry about. Are you going to feel frustrated at times? Yes, but you should know that going into the purchase. Thank you for watching this M.A.R.S Nature reviews on this Bring Arts. Again, we have 2 more coming in the far distant future. If you want to see more from this line, drop a like, leave a comment. I will take it into consideration. But thank you all for watching. Have a great day, and let me know, are you going to get this figure? Until next time, peace.